All right, today we're on the hunt for a lost city. But forget treasure maps, our guide is the Earth itself. We're going to solve a 3,000-year-old mystery, not by digging, but by learning to read the clues hidden in the landscape. Because that's really the heart of the problem here. For centuries, the very ground around the ancient city of Ephesus has been telling a lie, a massive geographic lie that has completely hidden its true origins. So our job? It's to unravel it. Okay, so our story kicks off with this guy, Androclus. He's an Athenian prince, and way back around the 10th century BCE, he gets a huge mission: cross the sea and go found a great new city. But where exactly? He needed a sign.
So, he did what anyone would do back then. He went to the most famous source for guidance in the ancient world, the Oracle of Delphi. And this was the cryptic advice she gave him. I mean, it's not exactly Google Maps, is it? A fish and a boar. Good luck with that.
But here's the crazy part. The legend says it actually worked. The story goes that Androclus and his men were cooking fish on a beach when one of them flops right out of the fire. The embers fly, light up a bush, and suddenly a huge wild boar crashes out. Androclus gives chase, and bam, right where he slays the boar, that's where he founds Ephesus. It's a fantastic story, but it's a story with a huge problem. The problem is this: that city, the very first Ephesus that Androclus founded, is gone. Poof, vanished. Archaeologists have been looking for it for centuries, and it's like it just pulled off the world's greatest disappearing act. This is the Ephesus we all know today, these incredible ruins from its peak in the Roman era. But just take a look around. You see fields, hills, farmland. What you don't see is the sea. And that, right there, is our first major clue that the landscape is lying to us. And that's a big deal, because Ephesus was one of the most famous and important port cities in the ancient world. Yet today, the Aegean Sea is a staggering 9 kilometers away. It just doesn't add up. So you have to ask yourself, how on earth does a massive harbor city end up this far inland? And you know what? That question is the key to this whole thing. The mystery isn't really about what people did. It's about what the earth did. To find the lost city, we first have to find the lost sea. And we actually have a culprit. Its name is the Caister River, or the Küçük Menderes, as it's known today. And for thousands of years, this river has been on a relentless, one-way mission to completely reshape the world. The weapon it used is a geological process called delta progradation. Sounds fancy, but it's pretty simple. Year after year, the river carries tons of mud and silt downstream and just dumps it at the coast. Slowly but surely, all that sediment builds up, creating new land where there used to be water. It's like nature's own terraforming project. And the scale of this transformation is just immense. Go back to 5000 BCE, and this whole area was a deep sea gulf, stretching way inland. Ephesus was a true coastal city. Now, it's a flat, fertile plain. For centuries, the people of Ephesus tried to fight back by dredging their harbors, but in the long run, you can't fight a river. The river always wins. So you might be asking, how can we be so sure what this place looked like thousands of years ago? I mean, we can't just rely on myths. Well, this is where things get really cool. This is where modern science steps in and lets us literally read the Earth's memory. There's this whole field called geoarchaeology, and it is the absolute key to our detective story. It uses the tools of geology to answer archaeological questions, and in doing so, it basically turns the ground beneath our feet into a history book. So here's how they do it. Scientists drill deep into the ground and pull up these long tubes of dirt and mud called sediment cores. You can think of them as time machines made of mud. By looking at the layers, finding seashells here, river silt there, and using radiocarbon dating, they can literally redraw the map of the ancient world, coastline by coastline. And this is the result. This old drawing, which people used to think was just a romantic fantasy, turns out to be spot on. The geological data confirms it. The great Temple of Artemis, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, wasn't built inland. It was built right on a sacred harbor at the edge of the sea. Okay, so now we have it. We've got our scientifically accurate map of the ancient world. The landscape's 3,000-year-old lie is busted. Now let's combine this new geographic truth with our ancient clues and finally pinpoint Androclus's lost city. Our single biggest literary clue comes from the great historian Herodotus. He wrote that the original city was located 7 stadia from the Artemisionon, That's the Temple of Artemis. For centuries, this seemed like the perfect piece of evidence.
Now, a stadion was an ancient unit of measurement. 7 stadia is roughly 1,300 meters, or just under a mile. Simple enough, right? You just measure 1,300 meters from the temple ruins. Well, here's the problem. If you measure that distance in a straight line, as the crow flies, it leads you directly into an area that our new geological map proves was underwater back then. You can't find a city in the middle of a bay. For centuries, this clue was a total dead end.
But what if we've been thinking about it all wrong? What if Herodotus didn't mean a straight line through the air? What if he meant the distance as one would walk in the ancient world, following the terrain? And this is the breakthrough. When geoarchaeologists took Herodotus's measurement and traced it along their newly discovered ancient coastline, it didn't lead into the sea. It led them right around the bay to a completely new location, the eastern flank of a mountain called Pion. And then, suddenly, everything just clicks into place. Another ancient source referred to Androclus's first city as Trachea, which literally means the rough, broken rocks. And what is the terrain of Mount Pion's eastern flank? Rough, broken rocks. The myth and the science were pointing to the exact same spot all along.
So, what's the takeaway from all this? First, those ancient myths aren't just fantasy. They can hold real geographic truths. Second, it shows that history isn't just a dusty old science. It's alive, constantly being rewritten by new discoveries. And maybe most importantly, it proves that to really understand our own past, we first have to understand the planet it was built on.
And that leaves us with a fascinating final thought. We always think of archaeology as digging down, but this story shows us that sometimes the biggest clues are written right on the surface. It makes you wonder, how many other secrets are hidden in plain sight, just waiting for us to learn how to read the land?